All right, everybody, welcome to the Mind of Iggy. Just wanted to check in and see how everybody's doing. Just kind of talking a little bit about yesterday, Friday and yesterday. Kind of had my little, what's it called, open house. Sherry and I had an open house for Serenity Salts Ball. So it went really well. I was pretty excited. I think it's going to be a good thing. Things are going to come together. And I hope you can come out there and visit sometime soon. Just go online and schedule. But today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about just things or where I'm at, what's going on, what's happening in my neck of the woods, what's happening in my life. So I took on a little venture here with my friend Sherry, and we're hoping that everything works out. We hope that the business picks up and we do things and things work together. She'll be in Florida. I'll be here in Columbus running the shop. So that's kind of what the gist of everything is. Those of you who made it out yesterday, thank you very much for supporting us and supporting the endeavors of and continuing the Salt Ball here in Columbus. But I want to talk to you a little bit today about perceptions. Perceptions. Beliefs. Everybody, there's 7.5 billion people on the earth. So we're going to have that many perceptions and dreams, ideas, feelings, emotions about what the world looks like. Now, we're constantly being bombarded with information. We're constantly being informed, disinformed, whatever, you name it. Conspiracy theory, non-conspiracy theory, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, you name it. We're going right down the shopping lane of realities and perceptions of life. Now, you're always going to find things that just don't align with you, and that's okay. There are things that just won't be in your feeling, your heart, your emotion, and that's okay. And I think that's where we have to kind of understand a little bit about who we are as human beings. To believe that apart from all the cultural backgrounds that we all come from and all the belief systems that we have been indoctrinated into, in the end, we're really just human beings with feelings and emotions, desires and drives, and things that just move inside of us, exit us, leave us, and things that we just program and put into our head. Now, is it always right? Well, it depends who you're asking, right? It depends where you're aligning your allegiance to. Who is your friends? Who is your family? Who are your cohorts, where you fall in the gamut of 7.5 billion people. Now everybody goes, well, this is reality. This is the truth. This is how the way it is. For you, yeah, absolutely. And for maybe 1 million people. But that's not everybody. We can't really, we can, people, because we do it. We label people, but we shouldn't label people and put them in boxes and squares and triangles and things because they think differently than us. But it happens every day. It happens every moment. It happens every second. Kids do it. Well, we got to put all the boy dolls in here and all the girl dolls over here. Can't mix them all up. I watch my grandkids do that. Is it something that's programmed in them, or is it something innately they know? There are some things that we innately know, and then there's some things that are programmed to our belief system. Now, the reason I talk about this is because one of my students brought up the topic that one of my guests was, maybe he seemed that she was a little disconnected from reality or different, saw the world differently about just the things that we talked about. And I explained to him as best I could without talking to him, texting, which I don't do very good texting, was that we all come from different perspectives, different points of view, different realities of life. Your reality, my reality may look similar, but they're not the same. And the reason I brought this person on the show is because I wanted to give a different perception, a different feel, a different view of how other people see the world. Especially in the work that I do as a healer or as a metaphysician, whatever you want to call me, whatever label you want to throw on me. I can't exclude people who come to me because they have a different thinking. Now, the only thing I can do is if it's doing harm to others, doing harm to me, and I'm not in alignment with it, and maybe, hey, you know what, we can't work together. I can't do that because of this or that. Then that's my judgment, upon them, or my belief that I don't need that in my life. That's different. But when we come into this world and we see things that we don't like, it's because we're not in alignment with it. We don't. It's not where we're at. For a lot of us, the American way, whatever that is, the American way. I'm not talking about Amway. I'm talking about the American way of living of life. We have a specific way that we navigate in this country. And then when we see things outside of our comfort zone, outside of our thinking, outside of our parameters, it can trigger us. It can put us in a different frame of thought, a different mindset. And I think that's what happens a lot, because I watch it especially with my kids and younger generations, that they're creating their own identity, and they're the next generation coming through, so they're creating their own identity, who they are. And so they feel that the world has to be a certain way, that it should conform, that it should change, and it should be liberated, it should be opened up in a certain manner. But you can understand there are other young people on that other side of the world, or all over the world, who don't think like Americans and don't feel the same way. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. And I don't think they do, personally. They have their own mind, their own liberation, and their own creation, what they want to do. And what happens to them, and where they go, and how they see the world, and how they perceive the world. Just you guys here visiting online, visiting me, dropping in, all have your own perceptions of what America looks like, and what it means to be part of this melting pot, this salad bowl of people, and how you navigate, move through it. I guarantee you, we may see things very similar and very different all at the same time. Here, and I'm projecting, here in America, I think we have a lot of rights. We have a lot of availability to do things and share and feel and express our emotions more freely and clearly than other countries maybe do. We're able to express, what's going on in our heart, and not feel that we're going to have any repercussions for it. The people in Peru and India, where they all have a different way of expression. They can't always express it the way they do. I'm going to tell you, I found it very interesting when I took my journey in not eating meat. And the reason I bring this up is because I had a different view and different perspective, a different look on life. It was a little different. I had the honor system, the sacred contract system with animals, and the things that they do, and how we eat them and how we perceive them. There are some of you who don't even understand that and you don't really care, and that's okay, and that's not important, but you just eat meat because an animal's an animal, right? And that's what they do. Animals do. They're here to serve us. But also, animals are sentient beings. They're creatures. They're creatures of the earth, creatures of the planet. They do what they do. And I think what happens is sometimes we forget that we are also sentient beings, that we are also part of this. So what I found out and what I discovered is the feelings and emotions that I had prior to eating meat are a lot different. It really, something got moved in me. And for 50 days I had not eaten meat. And yesterday I had shrimp. You may think that's funny. You may think that, you had shrimp. Well, I had shrimp. That was my goal. If I was going to come back to eating meat, I was going to eat shrimp. I ate it. It wasn't satisfying at all. I thought I was going to be really, because I just know because of the way it was made and the love and the care that wasn't put into it, I could feel it. And it's not that I feel bad for the shrimp. I feel bad for all the things that were associated to the shrimp. Without getting into too much controversy, and I'm not here to convert anybody or just sharing my experience. This is the Mind of Iggy. I remember the slave trade that goes behind fishing for shrimp. Catching shrimp. And all the people who are thrown into slavery, not servitude, not servants. These are actual slaves. You become a slave on these boats. And sometimes if you try to not comply, they throw you off the boat. And you know what happens when you're out on sea and you're out on the boat. You ain't going to live. So those things rolled through my head because they never had rolled through my head before. They were never part of my thinking. They were never part of my scope, my memory, my bank in my head, in my mind. Was I sad about the shrimp? I don't think I was so sad about the shrimp. I think I was more sad about the process that's involved, because I do believe that I personally understand the shrimp and I have a relationship. But the relationship between the humans and the way they were abused in order to capture these shrimp for those of us who love shrimp, that bothered me. That kind of hit me. It kind of hit me because I felt like that I kind of gave up on these guys. Like I was contributing to their demise in some way. And I know that I can't make, one person can make a difference, but I'm not going to make the huge difference, because unless we go and stop it, blah, 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 you know the story. That won't end. And I guess the pain for me was to know that we still do that to people. That we are able to throw people on a ship for 6 years or more and not give a damn about who they are, just put them to work. That really bothered me. A lot of things bother me, but that bothered me. Why am I sharing this with you? Because maybe you don't care, maybe you do. It's because sometimes we rush to judgment about what we see and what we hear and what we do and what we feel. And sometimes, because it's not in our belief system, then they must be whack jobs, So I watch these documentaries, I learn a little bit about things because I know the other side, because I've lived on the other side. I've experienced the other people on the other side. And then I step into the other realm and I learn more. So these are the things that change people. These are the things that alter people's perceptions and beliefs about things. My guest, when she shared about the things that she shared, is because she truly believes that. It's in her heart. It's in her soul. And she's not alone. There are millions of people like that. And so I brought her on the show because I felt it was important to give a voice to a voice that sometimes we ignore, we don't give voice to, because we think that it's wrong, or it's indifferent, or it's just stupid, just crazy thinking. But you know what? Sometimes in life we find out later that a lot of stuff we thought were crazy wasn't so crazy. So how do you learn to navigate the world of people? If that's even your desire. That's my desire, to be able to navigate different groups, different people, and be involved, understand, because it's the work I do. That's my job. I love my job. I love what I do. And that's why I'm successful in what I do and how I do it. It's because I encompass everybody. Black, white, Asian, hateful, blonde, you name it. I know a lot of people. Now, do they have hate for me or love for me? Maybe, maybe not. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to being understanding and being heard. And then you learn from people. You learn, you understand where they're coming from. Okay, I see that. It doesn't mean you have to still agree with that, but you have an understanding. Is to be shut off and to be cut off is, you're isolating yourself from learning. You're isolating yourself from the reality that, that your way is the only way. And that's what happens in a lot of organized religion. They cut people off. It's done. It's over. And then we only know that side of the story. Then we think the other people crazy. I don't know if I've ever used an analogy, but in Star Wars, the stormtroopers wore white. White is a sign of good, right? Usually. So the Empire thought they were right. The rebels thought they were right. Everybody thought they were right. But nobody would bend. No one would learn. No one would come to the middle. Because no one was willing to bend the knee, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what happens in our lives. Sometimes people don't come to our side, or we want them to come to our side, but they won't come to our side because they're not in alignment with our thinking and our beliefs and our, doctrine. And that's how we create differences. And that's how we learn to be human. So that's all I wanted to share. It's kind of goes along with the story I talked about the rich being rich and they enslave us. Someone told me they were servants, but we're still slaves to the system. I don't care if you want to use the word servant or whatever. We're in servitude, whatever. They still get our pocketbook. They still know how to manipulate us. And, even if you don't want to participate, you participate. You do. I mean, you can't get around it. If you know bad things are happening and you don't do anything about it, you're still participating by not participating. And if you get involved and you participate and find yourself in an awkward position, you participated. Even the ones who don't get involved in something are participating by not being involved. And yeah, the choice is yours. But we are all connected and we are all manipulated and enslaved. And some of us believe we're servants to the system. And you know what? If the word servant feels better than called slave, then use it. I don't care. But as being part of it, being part of the system, being part of the cog that runs this planet, or runs this bureaucracy of the world that we live in, do your part. Do the best you can to make things right for your life and your family and the people that you care about. Because I tell you, that's all you really can control to some degree. Because if you make a difference in the life that you're creating for you and yourself and the significant people in your life, then what happens is they go out and do the same thing, and then it just exponentially grows. So if there's any message I can give you today on the Mind of Iggy is just keep doing the best you can. Because as you do the best you can, you create more of that. And more of that, more of that. And then finally, we stop to get away from the fear-mongering, the hopelessness that the world is doomed. I don't think the world's doomed. I do believe the world's in some chaotic fearness right now, where everything is very detrimental and everything that we do has to be by the book. But we also have to be cautious as we navigate this new world that we're participating in creating and being enslaved to, or being servitude to, or being servants of. We really need to be careful on the steps we take. Because the steps we lock ourselves in, we lock our mind into, in the beliefs and stuff, don't just go away. They don't just go away overnight. We teach that to our kids. We teach that to the people we love, and it just grows. That's like a virus too. So be very careful. Be very cautious of your words. Be very careful how you share your stories about what you think is right and wrong. Because what's right for you may be wrong for someone else, and what's wrong for someone else might be right for you. And that's where the rub is. Understanding or not understanding at all, or finding in the middle. There's 3 categories you can fall in. You agree, disagree, or you're in the middle, observing it. I'm Iggy Garcia from the Mind of Iggy. I'll see you soon on my show, my podcast, Tuesday at 8 o'clock on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes. Love you guys. Hope to see you at the Serenity Salt Spa. Matakuyasan ho'oponopono. What is above is below. Take care of yourselves. Iri sikwi. And I will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Peace and love.